It had been a quiet day in the Galactic Council's command center, but that changed in an instant. A signal, strange and untraceable, appeared on their screens. It wasn't just any ordinary message. This one was from a part of space that had never been explored. The Council's best scientists and technicians couldn't identify the origin. The signal was unlike anything they had ever encountered before. Its patterns were unfamiliar, and its power source was unlike any known species technology. What is this? General Valdar, a seasoned Vrax warrior, asked, his voice filled with disbelief. The Vrax had ruled over large parts of the galaxy for centuries and had never encountered a challenge like this. He squinted at the holographic map as the signal moved closer to a region marked uncharted. For weeks, the Council had been receiving small bursts of information from this same region. But this was the first time something concrete had come through. Signal. And it wasn't just random noise. It was organized, almost deliberate.
This
Is beyond our capacity, said the Council's lead scientist, Zara, a human who had earned the respect of the galactic elite. It's coming from Earth's old system, the one no one talks about. A quiet murmur swept through the room. Earth, a distant, forgotten planet, once considered too far away to play any significant role in galactic matters. Many believed Earth had been destroyed long ago during the Great Space Wars. Some said that humanity's rise had been nothing more than a brief, shining moment in galactic history. No one had expected Earth to be of any importance today, but this signal was different. The pattern it followed hinted at something far more advanced than anything Earth should have been capable of. This could be the key to understanding their true history, Zara continued. There are many records that Earth's warships were powerful, but no one ever confirmed their full capabilities. Valdar clenched his fists. The idea that Earth, once so weak and insignificant, might hold such advanced technology sent a ripple of unease through him. He had no patience for weakness, and the thought that Earth could have hidden something so powerful for centuries was deeply troubling. Despite Council's division over the signal's potential, there was a general agreement. Something had to be done. The situation demanded action, and quickly. "We must send a fleet to investigate," said Councillor Alvar, the most influential voice in the Council. He was a member of the Drakari species, known for their diplomatic skills and vast networks of influence. "We can't afford to leave this unknown. Lingering in our space, the risk is too great." And so, the decision was made. The Galactic Council would send a team to Earth's forgotten system to discover the source of the mysterious signal. A human team, led by Captain Mark Lawson, was chosen for the mission. He was known across the galaxy for his calm leadership and his ability to think outside the box. He had been a respected officer in the human fleet before being assigned to this mission. Though Earth was no longer considered a major player in galactic affairs, Captain Lawson's reputation as a brilliant strategist made him the perfect choice. The ship chosen for the mission was the Peregrine, a well-equipped vessel, capable of deep space travel. As Captain Lawson stood on the bridge, he could feel the weight of history pressing down on him. Earth's role in the galaxy had always been questioned, but this mission might change everything, Captain. Lieutenant Aiden, his second-in-command, said as he reviewed the coordinates. "The signal is coming from a region called the Wraith Nebula. No one has ever mapped this region. It's considered too dangerous to explore. The nebula has been known to interfere with navigation systems, making it nearly impossible to chart." Lawson nodded. "We'll have to rely on our instincts and skills then." Aiden, "Earth's history might be hidden for a reason, but we can't ignore this signal." The crew of the Peregrine was a mix of seasoned veterans and young, eager explorers. The tension was palpable. Many of them were excited by the idea of uncovering a part of Earth's forgotten past, but some were apprehensive. The unknown was always a dangerous thing to chase, and no one knew what they would find on the other side of the signal as the Peregrine sailed through the stars. Leaving the safety of known space behind, Captain Lawson couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. He had faced many challenges in his career, but this felt different. This wasn't just another mission. This was a chance to unlock the secrets of a long-lost human legacy. "Captain," Lieutenant Aiden interrupted his thoughts. "We're entering the Wraith Nebula? Our sensors are already acting up. We'll need to move cautiously. Understood. All hands prepare for anything, Lawson said, his voice steady as ever. This could change everything. Stay sharp. The Peregrine entered the nebula, its sleek body cutting through the thick cloud of gas and dust. The stars seemed to disappear, and the darkness of the nebula enveloped them. But they kept moving forward, drawn toward the unknown source of the signal. As they moved deeper into the nebula, the mysterious signal grew stronger. The crew watched in silence, unsure of what would come next, but they were ready. For better or for worse, they were about to uncover the truth about Earth's hidden past. And as the Peregrine moved closer to its destination, the galaxy held its breath, unaware that everything was about to change. The Peregrine moved deeper into the Wraith Nebula. The thick clouds of gas and dust swirled around them, and the stars disappeared from view. The crew was tense, their eyes glued to the readings on their screens. Every moment felt like a step into the unknown. Captain Mark Lawson stood at the helm, his hands steady on the controls. He had been in dangerous situations before, but this one was different. They were chasing something far more than a simple signal. They were chasing history. "Captain," Lieutenant Aiden said, his voice full of caution, "we're getting interference from the nebula. Our sensors are barely functioning. If we go any further, we might lose all contact with the fleet." Lawson didn't flinch. His mind was focused on the mission. "Keep going. We've come this far. We're not turning back now." The signal had grown, stronger as they moved deeper into the nebula, guiding them like a beacon through the darkness. It wasn't just a signal anymore. It was almost as if the ship itself was calling to them. Lawson could feel a strange pull, something deep inside, telling him they were close to something monumental. "All systems are going haywire," said Ensign Thompson, the communications officer, as he tried to adjust the readings. "It's like the nebula is alive, blocking all our equipment." "Do the best you can," Lawson replied, glancing at his crew, when he knew that this was more than just an exploration. This was a chance to uncover something that could change the future of the galaxy. The Peregrine had already passed through dangerous parts of space, but nothing compared to this. The crew could only hold on as the ship's systems flickered. In and out, the signal led them to a dead zone, an area where even the stars were hidden from view. It was here, in the quiet darkness, that the Peregrine finally stopped. For a moment, everything was still. No noise, no light. The crew waited, staring at their screens, wondering what would happen next. "Captain, I think we've found it," said Aiden, his voice filled with awe. He pointed to the display. A massive shape had appeared on the screen, hidden in the shadows. Of the nebula, it was unlike anything the crew had ever seen. The ship was enormous, its structure beyond anything the galaxy had known. The Peregrine had come face to face with Earth's hidden supercarrier, the Eagle's Fury, the ancient warship that had once belonged to Earth. The supercarrier was vast, larger than any known battleship in the galaxy. Its surface was covered in markings that seemed almost alive, as if the ship itself had grown from the stars. The crew stared at the display in disbelief. No one had known it was here. Earth had kept it a secret for centuries, and now it was about to make its presence known to the galaxy. "It's massive," Lieutenant Aiden whispered, his voice shaky. How did Earth hide this from the galaxy?" Captain Lawson's heart raced. He'd heard the stories about Earth's once great fleet, but no one truly believed them. Standing at the edge of something that could change everything. "Open a channel," he ordered. "Let's see if we can communicate." As the signal from the Eagle's Fury flickered on, the crew could hear a deep, resonant hum coming from the ship. It was almost like a heartbeat. The hum grew louder and louder until it filled the entire bridge. Then, the lights on the Peregrine dimmed and a voice filled the room. It was calm, steady, but ancient. The voice sounded like it had been waiting for centuries. "Welcome home, children of Earth." The words sent a chill down everyone's spine. There was no mistaking it. This wasn't just a message, it was a command. Supercarrier had awakened. The crew on the Peregrine looked at each other in stunned silence. The ship had somehow known they were there. But how? The Eagle's fury was thought to be lost forever, buried in the rubble of an ancient war. "Captain, what do we do now?" asked Lieutenant Aiden, his voice filled with uncertainty. Mark Lawson stood motionless for a moment, trying to process what was happening. This was no longer just about investigating. A signal. This was something far bigger, something Earth had hidden away for reasons no one fully understood. "Prepare to board," Lawson said, his voice calm but filled with purpose. "We're going to find out what's inside." It's time for humanity's legacy to be revealed. As the Peregrine made its way toward the massive supercarrier, the crew couldn't help but feel the weight of the moment. The galaxy had forgotten Earth, but Earth's secret had just been uncovered. The Eagle's fury had reawakened, and its power was unmatched. The quiet hum of the ship was a reminder that something ancient and powerful had returned. The crew braced themselves as the Peregrine drew closer to the ship. It was a silent, slow approach, as if they were approaching a sleeping giant. The Eagle's fury loomed before them, its shadow stretching far into the nebula. For the first time in years, Earth was no longer invisible. It was at the heart of something incredible. "Let's do this," Captain Lawson said, standing tall. "We've only just begun to understand what this ship is capable of. Whatever it is, we're going to make sure the galaxy knows Earth is not." As weak as they think, as they prepared to board the Eagle's fury, the crew knew they were stepping into the unknown. But they also knew that they had uncovered something that would change the galaxy forever. The Peregrine hovered just outside the Eagle's fury, the giant supercarrier still standing like an ancient sentinel in the nebula. The crew, once filled with uncertainty, now felt a sense of awe and curiosity. No one could truly grasp the magnitude of what they were about to witness. Earth's forgotten warship, thought lost in the midst of a galactic war, was alive and waiting. "Captain, we're ready," Lieutenant Aiden said as the ship's docking clamps engaged. His voice was steady, but a spark of excitement filled his eyes. The crew knew that their discovery would send ripples through the entire galaxy. But no one knew what dangers or secrets lay inside the Eagle's fury. Captain Mark Lawson took a deep breath. "All right, everyone, stay alert. We don't know what to expect. This ship is ancient, and we might not be the only ones interested in it." The air felt charged with energy as the team prepared to board. The doors of the Peregrine opened, revealing the dark, silent space between the ships.
Mark.
Motion for his team to follow him as they stepped onto the bridge of the Eagle's fury. The ancient warship was quiet, its interior covered in layers of dust and webs of old cables. It was as if time had stopped the moment the ship went dormant. The crew moved cautiously, their footsteps echoing in the empty corridors. The ship's walls were covered in strange markings that no one could read, not even the most advanced AI systems. The Eagle's fury seemed to be alive, its systems pulsing with an ancient energy that hummed beneath the floor. "What is this place?" Ensign Thompson whispered, his voice filled with awe. "I don't know," Mark replied, "but we're going to find out." The ship's interior was vast, filled with chambers and hallways that seemed to stretch endlessly. As they explored deeper, they came across a large command center, its monitors flickering to life as they approached. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the screen flashed, and a figure appeared. It was an AI, an ancient hologram that seemed to have been waiting for their arrival. The figure was human in appearance, but its eyes held an unsettling depth, as if it had witnessed centuries of history. "Welcome, children of Earth," the hologram said, its voice echoing across the command center. "You have awakened the Eagle's fury, a relic of your ancestors. But no, this your return will not go unnoticed."
Ow.
The crew stared in stunned silence. Mark felt a chill run down his spine. The voice was not just a greeting, it was a warning. The ship was not just a weapon, it was a key to something much larger. "What do you mean by return will not go unnoticed?" Mark asked, his voice firm but cautious. The hologram's eyes flickered, almost as if considering the question. "You are not the first to seek the Eagle's fury," it replied. "Others have come before you seeking its power. But none of them were ready for what lies within." The crew exchanged nervous glances. Mark stepped forward. "We're here to understand what happened to Earth, to uncover what was hidden all these years." The hologram nodded slowly, You will learn what you seek. But remember, not all knowledge is meant to be uncovered. Some things are better left buried. A long silence followed. Then, the hologram extended its hand, as if offering something. You must choose, Captain Lawson. The Eagle's Fury holds the power to reshape the galaxy. It can bring you strength, but it also brings danger. Will you? Take that risk. The offer hung in the air, and Mark's mind raced. The weight of the decision was overwhelming. To unlock the full potential of the Eagle's Fury could change everything. But there was also a dark warning, a reminder that some powers should not be disturbed. Before Mark could answer, silence was shattered by a loud alert. The ship's external sensors flared and the crew scrambled to their stations. The signal was back this time, much stronger. Someone or something had detected their presence. Captain, it's the Vracs, Lieutenant Aiden reported, his voice tight with urgency. They're coming. Mark's heart sank. The Vracs, one of the most powerful species in the galaxy, had long ruled through fear and dominance. If they knew about the Eagle's Fury, they would stop at nothing to claim it for themselves. Prepare for battle, Mark ordered, his voice cold and commanding. We can't let them take this ship. Not now. Not after everything we've discovered. As the crew rushed to prepare, Mark turned to the hologram. What do we do? How do we defend the Eagle's Fury? The hologram's eyes glowed brighter, almost as if it was smiling. You already know the answer. The Eagle's Fury is a weapon of war, and you are its chosen vessel. Use it wisely. The ship's ancient systems hummed to life, and Mark could feel the power of the Eagle's Fury coursing through the ship. Crew watched in awe as the weapon systems activated, and massive energy shields began to form around the Peregrine. We're not alone anymore, Mark whispered to himself. The Eagle's Fury had reawakened, and with it, Earth's forgotten power had returned to the galaxy. But as the Vracs fleet closed in, Mark knew that this was just the beginning. The true test of humanity's place in the galaxy had only just begun. The Vracs fleet appeared on the edge of the nebula, its dark ships cutting through space like shadows. The Peregrine and the Eagle's Fury were surrounded by the Vracs warships, each one heavily armed and ready for a fight. The crew on the Peregrine worked quickly, trying to prepare for the incoming battle. But the power of the Eagle's Fury was unlike anything they had ever seen. Captain Mark Lawson stood at the command center of the Eagle's Fury, staring at the holoscreens that displayed the Vracs ships closing in on them. The energy shields around the ships were forming a protective barrier, but Mark knew that the Vracs would test the limits of those shields. He couldn't afford to fail, not now, not after everything they had uncovered. We've got incoming fire, Lieutenant Aiden called out from his station. The Vracs are opening fire. We need to activate the weapon systems now. Mark didn't hesitate. Activate the weapons, Aiden. Let's show them what Earth's legacy can do. The Eagle's Fury hummed with power as its ancient weapon systems powered up. The ship's surface glowed faintly, and massive cannons began to charge. The energy fields around them flickered and surged, as if the ship itself had come alive, ready to defend what was once its home. All hands, brace for impact, Mark ordered, his voice calm but filled with authority. He knew that this battle could change the fate of humanity in the galaxy. The Vracs were a powerful species, but they were not prepared for the ancient might of Earth's warship. The Vracs fired their first wave of lasers, the beams streaking across space toward the two ships. The shields flared, absorbing the initial barrage, but Mark knew they couldn't hold up forever. The Eagle's Fury's shields were powerful, but they were not invincible. It was time to strike back. Firing the main cannons, Lieutenant Aiden shouted. The ship's weapons unleashed a massive surge of energy, sending powerful beams of concentrated fire toward the Vracs fleet. The blasts were unlike anything the Vracs had seen before. Now one ship exploded into fragments, its hull torn apart by the force of the attack. The rest of the Vracs ships hesitated, surprised by the sudden counterattack. But the Vracs were not easily intimidated. Their ships regrouped and launched a second wave. This time, however, the Eagle's Fury was ready. The ship's advanced systems allowed Mark to target specific points on the Vracs ships, hitting weak spots in their armor. The Vracs responded with a barrage of missiles, but the Eagle's Fury shields absorbed most of the impact. Ensign Thompson reported. "We've destroyed another Vrock ship."
Orcs.
Mark's heart raced. The battle was turning in their favor, but the Vrax's fleet was far from defeated. The remaining warships began to move into formation, preparing for a full assault. "We can't let them regroup," Mark said. "Prepare the ship for a close-range attack. We need to finish this now." Eagle's Fury surged forward, its massive engines flaring to life. The Vrax's ships attempted to scatter, but the Eagle's Fury was too fast. It moved through the Vrax's fleet like a blade cutting through butter, firing with deadly precision at each ship. The ancient warship's power was unmatched. The Vrax's were quickly losing their advantage, despite their strength. The Vrax's fleet couldn't stand up to the might of Earth's supercarrier. One by one, their ships fell, their hulls crumpling, under the force of the Eagle's Fury's weapons. It wasn't long before the last Vrax ship turned and fled, its retreat a clear sign that Earth's forgotten power was too much to handle. "We did it," Aiden said, breathing a sigh of relief. "Stop them." But Mark wasn't celebrating. The battle had been won, but the war was far from over. The galaxy had just witnessed Earth's strength for the first time in centuries, and that strength would not go unnoticed. The crew turned to Mark, waiting for his orders. The Vrax had retreated, but their defeat wouldn't remain a secret for long. The galaxy was bound to respond, and Mark knew that Earth's place in the galaxy had just changed forever. "Prepare for a full report to the Galactic Council," Mark said, his voice firm. "This is just the beginning. We've shown the galaxy what Earth is capable of, but now we have to deal with the consequences. The Vrax won't be the last to come after us." As the Eagle's Fury drifted in the empty space, the crew reflected on what had just happened. Forgotten legacy had been awakened, and it had proven to be a force to be reckoned with. But the galaxy would never be the same again. In the days that followed, the news spread across the galaxy. The Galactic Council, once dismissive of Earth, now had to acknowledge the return of humanity's greatest weapon. Earth was no longer a distant, forgotten world. It was a player in the galaxy's game, and it was ready to make its mark. Mark Lawson stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. He had led his crew through a battle that would be remembered for centuries. And as the Eagle's Fury sailed through the galaxy, he knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter in humanity's history. "Let's move out," Mark said, his voice steady. "The galaxy is watching. It's time to show them what humanity can do." The Eagle's Fury glided through space, its systems humming with power. The battle against the Vrax had been won, but the war for humanity's place in the galaxy had only just begun. Captain Mark Lawson stood at the bridge, looking out at the stars. The view was quiet, peaceful even, but Mark knew the silence wouldn't last for long. The galaxy was changing, and Earth was at the center of it all. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council," Ensign Thompson said, his voice serious. "They've been waiting for our report." Mark's heart skipped a beat. The Council had been slow to acknowledge Earth's role in galactic affairs, and now they had no choice but to listen. "Put it through," Mark said, his voice steady. A moment later, the image of Counselor Alvar appeared on the screen. His face was stern, his expression unreadable. The Vrax's defeat had caught the attention of the highest powers in the galaxy, and Alvar's words carried weight. "Captain Lawson, I trust your crew as well?" Alvar asked, his tone polite but distant. "We're fine, Counselor," Mark replied, keeping his tone neutral. "We've completed our mission, and the Eagle's Fury has been awakened. The Vrax are retreating, but this is just the beginning." Alvar nodded slowly. "Indeed, your victory against the Vrax has changed the balance of power in the galaxy. The Council is deeply interested in the potential of Earth's warship." Mark could hear the hint of concern in Alvar's voice. It wasn't fear, it was caution. The galaxy had always seen Earth as weak, insignificant. But now, the once-forgotten planet was a power that could not be ignored. "I trust the Council will take appropriate action?" Mark asked, his eyes never leaving the screen. "Of course," Alvar replied. "However, this is a delicate situation. The galaxy is not ready for the full impact of Earth's return." "You must understand." "Captain, that some species will not take kindly to this change. Mark's mind raced. He had known that their actions would not go unnoticed, but the reality of what he had just heard was different. The galaxy was not ready for humanity's rise, and there were those who would fight to keep Earth in its place. "Then it's time we show them who we are," Mark said, his voice hardening with determination. Alvar's expression softened, though. The concern remained. "We are not blind to your efforts, Captain, but there is more at stake here than just the fate of Earth. The galaxy must find a way to coexist. The Eagle's fury is a weapon, yes, but it is also a symbol. You must use it." "Wisely. I'll do what I must," Mark said firmly. "But humanity will no longer be a shadow in this galaxy. We will stand as equals, not as subordinates." The counselor paused, as if weighing his words carefully. "Then I trust you will continue to keep the peace." For now, the transmission ended, and the screen flickered back to the stars. Mark stood still for a moment, his thoughts swirling. The council had spoken. Earth had a place in this galaxy, but it was a place that would be fought for. The Eagle's fury was more than just a warship. It was a symbol of hope, but also a beacon for conflict. "Captain, we've received more reports from the Outer Rim," Lieutenant Aiden said, breaking the silence. "The galaxy's response is mixed. Some factions are calling for an alliance with Earth, while others see us as a threat." Mark nodded, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. He had expected this. The Vraks were just the beginning, as word spread of Earth's power. Other species would take notice, and not all of them would welcome humanity's return. "We need to be ready," Mark said. "Prepare for any situation. We'll need to make some difficult decisions in the days to come." The crew of the Peregrine and the Eagle's Fury were the first to experience the power of Earth's hidden legacy. But now the galaxy was watching. And Mark knew that whatever came next, Earth had to be prepared. It couldn't afford to go back into the shadows. Had to stand strong and face whatever the galaxy threw at them. Later that day, Mark addressed his crew in the main hall of the Peregrine. The room was filled with officers and specialists, all of them eager to hear what would come next. "We've proven ourselves to the galaxy," Mark began, his voice steady. "But that's just the first step. Eagle's Fury is not just a weapon. It's the heart of Earth's return to the stars. We will have allies, but we will also have enemies. The Vraks are just one example of the challenges we'll face." The room was silent, each crew member taking in Mark's words. The future of Earth depended on their actions. They had the power to shape it, but only if they were ready. "We'll build alliances where we can," Mark continued. "We'll defend Earth and its people, no matter the cost. But we must also be prepared to stand alone when necessary. We are Earth's legacy, and we will not back down." A wave of determination swept through the room. The crew understood. Earth was no longer a forgotten world. It had returned. And it would stand tall among the stars, as the Peregrine and the Eagle's Fury set their course for the next chapter in humanity's story. Mark couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. They had fought forth this moment, and now it was time to show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. The crew had made history, and now they were going to shape the future. The galaxy would never forget Earth's name again,